I look forward for this day because this in many ways reminds me what I am missing for the last more than 5 years. My black coat and the favorable Supreme Court atmosphere I was used for the last more than 10 years. It appears for the coming 5 years, I shall not be available here. Therefore, I will continue to look forward eagerly, coming here, renewing my contacts and meeting all of you. Very briefly, ladies and gentlemen, and my young lawyers in particular, Law Day and 26th of November, the day we dedicated to ourselves this great document called the Constitution of India, is a phenomenal moment in the annals of world history. Why I say so? Go through the background at the formation of India's constitution. India was partitioned on religious lines. There was uprooting of millions of people, mayhem of millions of people. In spite of all these tensions, our founding fathers, who were leaders of great foresight, statesmanship and scholarship, trusted ordinary Indians with the power to choose their destiny through popular franchise, regardless of their caste, their community, their religion, their literacy and their income. There were naysayers then, are you trusting too much the ordinary Indians? But this extraordinary trust of the founding fathers in the capacity of ordinary Indians to chart out the destiny of India has given great dividends. Today, ordinary Indians know who they are and what they owe to themselves. And they also recognize their power to unseat any political leader, howsoever powerful, and any party, howsoever powerful, from center or from the state. And also trusting any political leader trustworthy to bring him back to power. This understanding of India's democratic polity has brought about its own sanity in the democratic discourse of India, in spite of occasional hiccups. And when I stand in the precincts of this great institution, the Supreme Court has played a stellar role by its independence and by very, I would say, extraordinary interpretation of the values of our Constitution, which has led to empowerment of ordinary people. And therefore, I always say, India's Constitution is based on a trinity. On the first is the dignity of ordinary Indians. And that dignity is very important. Equality flows from there. And the second is justice. He must have access to adjudication of his grievance. And the third most important is empowerment. In terms of equality, in terms of equity. This triangle of dignity, this triangle of empowerment, this triangle of justice. These three triangles have wedded India's diverse polity, a country of great diversity in a great firm block. I would speak in the subsequent function more on our heritage, for the time is short. But I would recommend to the Supreme Court Bar Association that the entire background, the struggle, the framing of the Constitution should become a benchmark of study for all our young lawyers in particular. Then you are able to understand what this Constitution was about. And whenever I see the judgments of Supreme Courts of India, I had shared with Justice Bob Day in a function earlier that about 2 weeks ago I had gone to Sri Lanka in the Commonwealth Law Ministers Conference. And then my reception organized in the Embassy of India, many Supreme Court judges of the Sri Lankan High Court had come. And all of them said, we eagerly look forward to the judgment of Supreme Court of India to learn to decide and also to look forward. That was indeed a great day, a great celebration of the achievement. Rakesh, we have been talking about issues of your association. That will be postponed some for the other day because of paucity of time. But one thing I can tell you, and this I always say, not necessarily as the Law Minister of India, but this I always say in my various capacities as an activist for my student life, as a member of parliament, experience of governance, and also as a person observing India's evolution in the last close to 40 years of my activism in public life, right from my student days. And ladies and gentlemen, my take is, trust the idea of India. And trust the idea created by the abiding values of the Constitution. That is the only right way. And trust the authority, might of the judicial system led by the apex court. They have settled many of the dichotomy, ironed out many creases, and left a great imprint. I would urge my lawyer friends to understand one important thing on Law Day. What is the might of the judiciary? Is it the authority of law? Is it the power of contempt? Yes, they are important. Integral to the concept of rule of law. But remember one thing very, very important. The real authority of the judiciary is the moral authority. And when you talk of constitutional morality, this moral authority acquires added significance. And all of us owe a collective commitment that this moral authority remains firm and shining. Today I would like to recall a particular instance which I mentioned in this very function some good number of years ago when I was the Minister of State in the Vajpayee government handling law. Now I had mentioned one instance which has reinforced my view about it. How is it that an additional district judge gives capital punishment to a serial killer or a mafia don who at a drop of a hat kill even a police officer through his henchman? But how is it that when a capital punishment is awarded by an additional district judge or a district judge after trial, the same district judge is moving after retirement with his wife in a simple market and no one raises a finger? That is the power of the moral authority of the judiciary, which we all need to remember, strengthen and rededicate. I think if we keep these narratives in mind, surely the sparkling principles of our constitutional governance would become the more strengthened. And therefore, addressing my young friends whom I see in large number, please imbibe those qualities. We are a blessed people that we live in India, having a great civilizational heritage. We are a blessed people that we live in a democratic polity. And we are a blessed people where we live in a rule of law, where an independent judiciary led by the Supreme Court holds the beacon to make it stable and strong. That is how I see this great document of our Constitution. Therefore, this year we have taken a further initiative that rights are important, they must be respected. But fundamental duties are equally important. And those duties are not because it came about under Article 51A. Those duties were also in the background of the framing of the Constitution. When you talk of Article 19, freedom of speech and expression, you also give reasonable restriction for the security and integrity of India, for public morality, for public order. This, at the same time, lays down a standard that while exercising your right, you owe your duty for the security and safety of India, for public order and particularly public morality. This has been the shining principle. We all have to work together, but India's potential must be unraveled properly. And sometime if I get chance to talk to you on my other department as an IT minister, the metamorphosis I am seeing happening in India of empowerment of ordinary young men, it is a great satisfaction for me. And I'll conclude that emerging contours by only giving two examples. We began the startup movements in 2015. India has become the third biggest startup movement in the world, with 24,000 plus startups, out of which 10,000 are technological startups. Out of which 24 are unicorn. Unicorn means having a turnover of $1 billion. And for me it is a privilege to give my award to young boys and girls of 25 to 30 years owning a startup and trying to conquer this world. And the Asia head of a top IT company one day met me and said, Mr. Minister, let me share the changing profile of India. Earlier when I used to go to IITs, we are a good paymaster. All the toppers of IIT used to run to us to get employment in campus selection. Now when we go, they say, sorry, we are going to start a startup. We want to become a job giver and not a job seeker. This is a new India emerging of confidence in the idea and strength of India. Let us rededicate ourselves to those values of rights, of duties, and the extraordinary sense of empowerment of common people in our constitution always laid down. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind.